The only time that any type of a divorce, you might call it, a separation of the man and woman could occur is that when the man is not able to perform the spiritual teaching and care for the spiritual welfare of his children and family. The society of the Diné is regarded as a matriarchal society. It's really not the way that the world understands that structure of society among our Diné. Every now and then we have a teaching that people seem to want more information about. And one of those happens to be the coming of age ceremony. Now, the young man has a coming of age ceremony. It's called kinalta. And the young woman has a coming of age ceremony. It's called kenalta. And so when they are no longer boys or young girls and they become a man or a woman, is very important. And it is, for the woman, it is celebrated. For the boy, of course, it's a completely different ceremony. And the ceremony that is given for the girls is a ceremony that was originally given to all of the Diné women by changing women. Astanat Lehe. And this Astanat Lehe is a person that is so misunderstood in the world today. Astanat Lehe is a sacred, holy being. And she is also very pure. And she is the type of person that does things in the right way for the right reasons. And it is that she teaches that in the ceremony that is given to the young woman. And so much of the information that is given in the coming of age ceremony for the girl is actually considered very sacred. And even myself, I went to a number of different women I thought could maybe share the information with our viewing audience, and all of them declined. They said they would not do it. And then I went and asked some of the men, see what they knew, and they all said, that's a woman's ceremony. And that's the way they would say to me. And the more I thought about it, and that the ceremony is not secret. It is sacred and can only be given as part of the ceremony that is given for the young girl. And it's the same thing with the young boy. There's a lot of information that I have that I can share with the men and the young men, but there are also portions that I cannot share outside of the sacred setting of a sweat lodge. And that's very important to understand. It's not that it's something that is taboo as it is administered. It's something that is very sacred. And so I have my own thoughts, that the girls' ceremony is perhaps in some way similar, but it is that the boys' ceremony deals with the directly from the Supreme Being. And is the way that it is told when it is a young boy and he becomes a man. And of course, for the young boy, they lash you with yucca stems. Very hard. They lay that on you. And so it stings. And when you go inside the sweat lodge, you start sweating where they laid that yucca stem across your back. Stings. And the teaching of that is that if you do not do your responsibility as a man in the third world, the pain and misery that would be spiritual, emotional, mental, and even physical is nothing, and as to the way that the holy people will deal with you. And that's what makes our ceremony for the boys a lot different. For the girls, it is a very gentle ceremony, and all of the women are the ones that are in charge, and they teach the young girl the things that was given to them by changing woman. And that is given to the grandmother, who gives it to the mother, who gives it to the daughter. And that's the way that information is carried on. And they keep it very, very sacred. And they are not willing to share it with anyone, especially a man. The only time that a man is ever involved in the coming of age ceremony for the girl is when he performs the ceremony. That ceremony is to perform certain songs and certain prayers that only the man can perform. And it is that he performs those portions of the ceremony on the final night The next morning that they cut up the coming of age cake, a kant is what it's called, and he gets the centerpiece of that as kant. And then everybody else that helped, all of the family members and those that came to participate and just be present, they get a portion of that as kant. And there's a lot of teachings associated with all of those things, even the coming of age cake. The society of the Diné is sometimes regarded as a matriarchal society, but it's really not that the way that the world understands that structure of society among our Diné. Because in the Diné traditional ways, it is the woman that owns the children. She owns the property, and she owns the livestock and all these material things. And so she is responsible for the physical welfare of her children and her family. And she's the one that holds the 7 bundle of the stirring sticks that are made out of greasewood. And she's the one that fights off not only hunger, but also the attacking of the spirit, the attacking of the emotion, the attacking of the mind of her children. And this is her responsibility, and she protects them like a mother bear would protect her children against anything that might harm them physically. And so that's her responsibility. Now the man, on the other hand, he is responsible for the spiritual welfare of the family. He is the one that has to climb the mountain to collect mountain soil at the top that gives him the authority that the holy people give him, so he can go back and he can administer the ceremonies and do the songs and prayers and conduct the ceremonies in behalf of the holy people. And so that is his responsibility. Now, not very many times when the arranged marriages were performed among our Diné, where the families would come together and they would bring a boy and a girl together, and then they would have the marriage. And so this was an arranged marriage, and that's the way it was done traditionally. Now, the only time that any type of a divorce, you might call it, separation of the man and woman could occur, is that when the man is not able to perform the spiritual teaching and care for the physical or the spiritual welfare of his children and family. Now, when he is unable to do the spiritual responsibility, all that the woman has to do is to take his saddle and put it outside of the doorway of the hogan. To set that saddle outside, that means, this is it. We can't tolerate this in this home. Take your saddle, put it on your horse, and go. Go back to your family. And so that was very important to understand, is that the woman in that regard, she is protecting her family. And she needs a man that can provide the spiritual training and teachings in that for the children. And so the idea that the ceremony conducted for the young girl has been something that was given by Changing Woman. Everything that Changing Woman is taught to that young woman, and the only way that it is done is passed on is to the girl when she has her coming of age ceremony. The things that we need to understand is that also about the teaching of the rainbow, about the male light and the female light. Something that a lot of people seem to not understand is that the spiritual light and spiritual knowledge is very real. And it is that when the teachings of the rainbow and the light that is fractured, these colors of knowledge are revealed in the teachings to a young boy. And that is from the male light. For the girl, it is the female light. And these lights are spiritual knowledge. And that's what it is, and that's what we are told.
Hey, thanks for watching our videos. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads. Also, head over to our website, NavajoTraditionalTeachings.com. Sign up for our email list. I can't.